Hello everyone, welcome to my video teaching you to make your very own Jester's cap, or Harlequin, or clown cap. However you call it, it's a lot of fun, so let's go ahead and get started, shall we? First off, we're going to need some things in order to make our cap. Starting off with a half a yard of colored fabric for each tassel. There are 5 different tassels in this Jester's cap design. Jingle bells for each tassel, a hot glue gun, and glue or a needle and thread. I personally use glue for this demonstration since glue is faster and much easier to fix. You will also need painter's tape, fox fur enough for about 1.5 inch wide and the circumference of your head, a hobby knife or cloth cutting scissors, paper for making patterns, cardboard for cutting and also making patterns, and a 1-inch wide elastic band at least the circumference of your head. Okay, now that you have everything you need, let's get started. But before we do, you need to know a couple of things. Firstly, these caps are tailor-made for your head based on your own personal measurements. In this video, I will be measuring and tailoring the cap to my own head. You will need to take your own measurements in order for this method to work. Do not use my measurements for your own cap. Secondly, the diagrams in this tutorial are for demonstration purposes only. Do not try to print them out. If you do, your cap will not come out correct. Okay, so now that that's out of the way, let's get started. The first thing that you're going to need to do is measure around your head for the circumference. Do this where you think the bottom of the cap should be on your head. Mine is 26.25 inches. And this measurement accounts for an additional 2.25 inches of wiggle room. After all, you can just glue in an elastic band if it's too loose. For my cap, I made 5 different colored tassels, those tendril things with the balls on the end. This means I have 5 different colored areas spaced evenly around my head. So to figure out how much area each color will have at the base of the cap, we divide the circumference, 26.25, by 5, the number of tassels, and get 5.25 inches. So each colored area around the base of my head will be 5.25 inches wide. Okay, so moving on. Thinking of the inner part of the cap as half of a sphere or half of a beach ball, we want to figure out how each one of these 5 colors will taper to the top of my head. So now I just take what I know, which is that the base will be 5.25 inches for each colored portion, as you can see in the figure to the right highlighted in red. Now all that I have to do is figure out the curve of the taper. This is done by taking half of my circumference, 26.25 inches, dividing it by 2 to get 13.14 inches, and measuring that out from one side, in my case, 5.25 inch base. Then take a compass and just draw out a quarter of a circle going up. Do the same thing for the other side, then erase everything beyond where those 2 lines meet. What you are left with is a bullet shape. This bullet shape is how the cap will taper to your head. Go ahead and make a cardboard cutout of this shape. You will need it later. Now we are ready to make our patterns. The patterns you see here uses half of the bullet shape we just came up with exactly, split right down the middle. We also added a 14-inch tassel at the top that runs right from the very top of the head to the very tip of the tassel. You can make yours however long you like. Make sure to measure from the top of your head to the shoulders for your tassel length. From there, we just have a connecting bottom line from the tip of the tassel to the bottom of our half bullet shape. We also have about 1.5 inches added to the bottom of our half bullet shape. This will be tucked into the cap when it's finished. You will also notice a 1/2 inch lip around almost everything. This is just so that you can glue or sew everything together. You will need to cut out 2 of this pattern. These are for both the right and left portions of one tassel. Just note, you may need to flip your fabric before you cut so that the correct side is facing out. Next up is the bottom portion of the tassels. It connects the left and right sides together. It's basically a long triangle with the long lines being the bottom line tassel length from the previous pattern. The short part attaches to the base of the cap and stretches the length of that color. So again, mine is 5.25 inches here. Also notice the half-inch lip for gluing and sewing. This next pattern is the last one we will need for this cap. It's the base that the tassels will be attached to. Notice that it's the original bullet shape we came up with, just with the half-inch of lip on its right and left side for gluing and sewing. Okay, so now I just cut out all of the patterns. I used a nice heavy paper for my patterns. Once those are all cut out, you can go ahead and move to cutting your fabric. I used painter's tape to tape down the patterns to the fabric. Then I used a hobby knife to cut each pattern out. Once everything is cut out, you can go ahead and start gluing everything together. Start off by gluing the main tassel parts together like so. Don't glue the bottom line parts together, they attach with a different part. Once those are glued together, go ahead and glue it to the base part of the cap like so. Use your cutout cardboard bullet shape to help line up each tassel to the base, making sure you still have lips exposed on each side. You will need them to attach each separate colored tassel piece to one another later. Next, glue on the bottom side parts of each tassel. This will give you one complete tassel. Now all that you have to do is glue the exposed lips of the bases together, and you should now have a somewhat wearable cap. Finishing it up now, just tuck in the bottom parts of your cap and glue them in. You can make slight adjustments here, so make sure that you check yourself out in the mirror before you do so. Also, glue on the 1.5-inch wide fox fur trim to the bottom of your cap. Then all that you have to do is attach the jingle bells to the end of your tassels. I tied 3 bells together just so they would have a little bit of weight to them. And that's it. You now got yourself one nifty Jester's cap. Alright everybody, that does it for this video. I hope your Jester's cap turns out magnificent. Please leave any questions and comments down below. I would love to hear how your Jester's cap turned out. And if by chance you like music, check out my other channel, Neon Iguana, where you can find tons of free downloadable songs, many of which you can use royalty-free in your YouTube videos. Also make sure to subscribe to this channel for more arts and crafts goodness. And with that being said, thank you all very much for watching, and I hope to see you again next time.